Evening everyone, it's Proctor here. Today I'm going to be reviewing my 99 Honda Odyssey EX. So I got this van for a very small price of $650 off a family who didn't really care about maintenance, to be honest. When I got it, they only ever did oil changes, and that was about $195,000, give or take. That's all they cared about was oil changes. So as you can imagine, I had a lot of maintenance to catch up on. That consisted of spark plugs, every air filter, cabin filter, tranny fluid, oil change, coolant, everything, right? Timing belt. They didn't even do the timing belt. It was like $195,000. That should sum it up, right? So these vans, I've always had these every winter as a winter beater. However, this time, this one's going to be staying in storage when I'm not using it because it is just a good driving, solid transportation. So this van, I got it for $650. I didn't maintain it. I got all that up to par. Anyways, so I'm going to tell you guys about some common failures on these. So it started knocking and ticking really bad one day, and I got an engine light for the PO401 or something like that for the EGR. So sure enough, I took the EGR up. There was a little bit of gum at the bottom. Then I went on my old data at work. I looked into it, and I took the upper intake manifold off, and it was in like this orifice tube that it goes down into the EGR, and it was clogged solid with like a pound of shit in it. So I cleaned all that out, reamed it out. All of a sudden, the engine runs much smoother. So that problem is fixed. I didn't even have to replace the valve. It was still working. Engaged with my scanner, disengaged it, and clicked and everything, and opened. So the next thing is knocking and kind of like a ticking kind of noise. So I have so many friends that have blue 9904 Odysseys with a 3.5, the J35, and they all knock like hell and they all tick like hell when they're cold in the morning. Doesn't matter the temperature outside, whatever. That's pretty common for all these vans, to be honest. And I use the 91 octane in this thing too, and it doesn't make a difference at all. Now that being said, I have a feeling at one point in this van's life, it may have been run low on oil. It does use a little bit, and the reason I say I think that this happened is when I got it, it was just under the minimum, and it was only like 4,000 kilometers, so it had like 1,000 left on the oil change as well. If you're driving it, it's at normal operating temperature, and you mat it, you should see the blue smoke behind you. It's very strange. I don't know if it's just leftover stuff in the exhaust. I'm not sure. But yeah, it does a little bit of that. Apparently this is actually a pretty common Odyssey problem as well. I've heard of a lot of people talking about this. Other things, the Drl stopped working. You just got to get the module behind the glove box. I didn't even have to do it on this one. My last one had that problem and it failed me a safety inspection for it, so I had to fix that. Other small things consist of, well actually it's a really big thing. The transmissions on these J35 V6s are basically compared to glass. I think it was about 80% of the Honda Odyssey V6s between 99 and 04, all their trannies shit the bed before 150,000, unless they went in for some recall at the time for a valve body, I think it's called, and some solenoids. So this is the original transmission in this, and it's at 230 right now, right around 195, 200. And it's still shifting really good. No slipping, nothing. That being said, when it's cold, first start in the morning, and I pull it out of the driveway and I put it in the drive, it slips one or two times when you're going from first to second. I think one or two times, and then it's fine. Acting kind of like a solenoid to me. Besides that, it's been fine. My last one, to be honest, did the exact same thing. I had two of them before this. And that's really the big thing. The tranny, the EGR, you got to make sure you do your timing belt, check the oil, because every Honda burns oil. We all know this, right? Yeah, they have that usual Honda rust, but if you take care of it properly, it'll be okay. Now I'm going to get into the positives of this. So, I can't say enough good shit about this van, to be honest. The climate control is amazing. It's all automatic. You can manually do it if you want to. It is kind of a pain at first when you get used to it because you got to hit all these stupid switches just to get the basic things that you want to do. So for instance, I turn it off, right? the only way to get it to your setting, you can't just turn the knob. It's stupid. You got to go to mode and then go to what I want. So feet and face first thing, and then you got to set the temperature and everything, but it won't let you get to the temperature unless you press auto, and then you got to go back to mode and put it back to the mode you want, and then you can set your temperature and everything, which is fine. Or you could just leave it on auto. Personally, I like everything manual. That's just how I'm bred. The heat is phenomenal in this thing. It's -20 outside. You start it first thing in the morning. It's ice cold. You pull out of the driveway, you're around the corner, the thing's warm in, like, I swear, 45 seconds or less. So that's definitely a positive thing for this. The ride is like a Cadillac on this thing. You're just cruising down the road, and it just does everything perfectly. It's smooth. You can barely feel bumps. When you want to get on it, like, look at that. It just goes, man. It does have VTAC. I'm not going to disclose anything, but it will hit at about 4,500, 5,500. And when it does, you know it, believe me. Yeah, so as the current state of this van is, it just drives phenomenally. The alignment's a hair off, like straight should be here, but it's right about here. The front end is tight on it. I just got to do an alignment tomorrow at work. Some other things. You can store so much crap in this thing, it's amazing. The back, it's a 7-seater, 3-seater bench in the very back of it. You got 2 captain seats in the middle, and you got 2 captain seats in the front. Now that being said, you can fold the very rear one all the way flat into the floor. So I have fit motorbikes in here. You can fit like 15 kegs. You can fit so much stuff in the back of an Odyssey. I even fit a friggin' kayak in here before. As well, it's extremely good on gas on the highway. So if you're going about 100, 110k an hour, you can usually get from it's about $55 to fill the tank with 91 octane. Not with today's current prices, but back then. And you could drive at about 650, 700k on a tank of 91, which was extremely good. So they're very fuel efficient on gas as long as you're not beating the shit out of it, to be honest. Another thing to note is these vans, they do have a very negative thing, which I've been screwing with for a long time and I can't figure it out. The throttle cable. They're so sticky on these things. You actually got to put your foot into it. I haven't even tried one yet that doesn't have this problem. I have cleaned the throttle on this thing. I have replaced the throttle cable. I have actually replaced the throttle on the car just because I had a new one in a box somewhere just to try it. And they're just naturally sticky. I don't know what it is. But honestly, guys, if you're just looking for like an under $3,000 beater car, it's just such a good van. It drives like a Cadillac. It takes off like a friggin' Viper, not gonna lie. Like, if you get on it, this thing will go, man. Just make sure you don't go on it too much without maintaining your transmission, because it will shit the bed, as every Odyssey tranny does, eventually. I think this one must have had a recall done, like the valve body or a solenoid or something, because it just drives way too good to be the original tranny at 230. I have driven customers with 150,000 on them, 140,000, the tranny's about to lock out, drop out, and pack up and say it's goodbyes. So the big thing to look out for when you're buying one of these is, another negative thing I thought, the power doors, they're very temperamental. Sometimes they don't latch, sometimes they don't open, sometimes they don't close. Something to look forward to. On my driver's side, it opens and closes, but you got to give a little nudge once it's closed so it latches fully, so your little door dinger thing doesn't stay on. But very, very solid, nice driving van. It's very, very, it has this quality feel to it, you know? Like it's not gonna break down. And it hasn't yet. So yeah, if you're looking for just like a beater car or delivery van or something, I would definitely say start with a Honda Odyssey. It's very easy to drive. It's very easy to park. The insurance is not too bad on it for me. It depends on your driving record, right? Mine's not the best, to be honest. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Excuse me. I don't even have a cold. I'm just having a really strange day with allergies. Yeah, guys, if I were you, I would find one of these for $1,500, $1,000, pick it up. Fingers crossed the tranny doesn't go. If it does, it's like $2,000. But very solid, reliable cars. And I will make an in-depth review of it later as well. Peace out, guys.